Hello and thank you for joining us on Newsweek, where we highlight some of the biggest stories that made the headlines recently. I am Marco Tabo. President Tinubu restructures NNPCL board, ushers in new era of technocratic leadership. Tribunal affirms Ukpeolo as Edo governor, dismisses PDP Ighodalo's petition. And finally, INEC rejects petition to recall Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, declares process did not meet requirements. All the details in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. In a landmark decision aimed at bolstering Nigeria's oil and gas sector, President Bola Tinubu has restructured the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited board, ushering in a new era of technocratic leadership. This bold decision ushered in a team of seasoned professionals on April 2nd, 2025, motioning a commitment to operational efficiency and strategic innovation. The new 11-man board will be led by Bashiru Bayo Ojulari, who replaced Mele Kyari as a group CEO, and Amadou Musa Kida, who took over from Pius Akinlure as non-executive chairman. And of course, to discuss this, I have Ibrahim Garba, a communications consultant, joining us from our Abuja studio. Ibrahim Garba, good to have you on the show this evening.
Well, thank you for having me once again. All
right. I also have on Zoom standing by is Olayinka Ola Daniels, who is also a lawyer. Olayinka Daniels, it's a pleasure to have you on the show this evening.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
All right. The shake-up of what happened at the NNPCL, did you see it coming from the look of things? How did you assess how this whole process panned out? This shake-up in the end, was it long overdue? What was your reaction hearing the news?
Okay. Thank you very much once again. Just like you rightly pointed out, it has been long overdue for the total overhaul of the entire NNPC. And this is largely due to the fact that ever since, or rather before this time, between 1971 and 2025, we have had close to over almost 20 GMDs. But this particular industry, which is vital, a vital asset to Nigerian economy, seems not to be too transparent in its dealings. And this administration, right from the first day President Tinubu came on board, he made it clear he wants to bring sanity to the industry, that is the NNPC. And you know that in 2022, it was privatized, making it a limited liability company. And Nigerians continue to ask this question: how transparent is the NNPC? Is it paying our dividends? And why is it that despite the turnaround money spent on turnaround maintenance, we are still not seeing results from the NNPC? So it took time for Mr. President to take that decision about, I wouldn't want to use the word sacking of Mele Kyari. Okay. Mele Kyari between 2019 and 2025 have the opportunity to rejig the system and make name for himself. But right from the time he was, giving us assurance about the turnaround maintenance and the NNPC coming out strongly, we'll find out that there's a lot of, it's not transparent enough, and NNPC is still much in price war. The cost of fueling continue to go high, and so many other issues. Right. So, and that is why this critical time, Nigerians continue to call on Mr. President to take a decisive action, especially now that we have a competitor in Dangote, refinery. So, for me, I see it as a very special gifts for Nigerians coming on the heels of the Salah celebrations. And as you know, Mr. President, right from the time he came into office, he has made it clear he's going to embark on massive economic revolution. And this is a practical way to achieve that. So bringing this technocrat buyer on board, well, what our advice is not looking back at the past, but finding ways to sell the joint venture, the JV, so that he can recoup money to this, the country coffers, right, making it transparent, especially in terms of metering, and if possible, look at these vital assets, especially the NNPC towers. What can you do about it? We want to see depopulation. We want to see, clearance so that we can breathe a fresh, we can see a new beginning for the NNPC, whereby Nigerians can be proud to say, look, we have a structure that is existing.
All right.
But at the same time, there's competition.
Okay.
Let me end it this way, Mark, because it's important. I want to stress that coming on board is not about, looking back at the past.
Right.
It's about competing favorably to ensure that the Kaduna refinery comes on float, and at the same time for us to hit 2.5 million barrels per day, which is the dream of every Nigerian.
All right. All right, Olayinka Daniels, quickly, let's get on to this. What major factor do you think necessitated this reshuffle? Apparently, you must have been hearing a whole lot, but what would you point to say this was exactly the reason why this reshuffle was needed?
Well, for a fact, I cannot vividly say that this is the exact thing that happened.
Okay.
That, caused this reshufflement. But then we all know that this is, long overdue.
Right.
This is really, really long. A lot of people, Nigerians, are clamor for this. But having said that, we also need to check recent issue that happened when NNPC and Dangote could not agree on the sales of crude in Naira anymore, and we all Nigerians can all see what happened, what transpired within the short time when the NNPC could not sell crude to Dangote refinery with Naira, and of course that Dangote has to make is a businessman.
Yes,
it's
true.
not a charity organization. So if you say you are not, we have an agreement, and you are, saying you are not going that route, of course, I have to find a way of sorting myself. If I have to buy in dollars, then I have to sell my product in dollars. And you can see the suffering, in fact, when Nigerians are even happy to say, we can feel a little bit of relief. And from analysis we've been getting, even people projecting, the sales of petroleum to 750 in few years, by the end of the year.
True.
At the same time, this is happening. So I think it called for a serious concern. And I think the president had to really look into it, maybe also listen to the cry of the people and feel that, no, what is happening? And again, there is no transparency. Nobody has said anything. Some people are just running the show as is a cabal, is just a group of people that nobody is accountable to anyone. So something has to be done, and something drastic and fast has to be done. And I think that's what Mr. President has done. And I think it's a welcome development, it's a good one.
All right, I'll put this question through to you. Now, Nigerians have been long dissatisfied with the activities of the NNPCL, especially with all the back and forth in the oil sector. Now, the president has finally responded. Is this a pointer that the president is actually listening?
Well, severally, I will agree with Nigerians, and I will tell them to re-emphasize this. The president is a listening president. Over time, you have seen that in his action. Over time, you have seen that in his decisions. When there are issues and the Nigerian cries, you can see Mr. President reversing some decisions, some policies that have been made over time. You have seen that, and this is just one of them. And I think with this trend, if Mr. President keeps listening to the people that is governing, it shows that he's a good leader, and it shows that he has the people in mind, and he knows where he's going, and he just wants to satisfy his people and to make sure that the suffering, he also feels the suffering. He knows people cry. He has families that are not, at the top there, that are somewhere, and they are also crying. So he hears all these cries and he feels all these pains. And it's a good thing. If he can continue this trend, I think he will get somewhere. All
right, thank you. Now, Ibrahim Garba, quickly, now a quick look at the Kwara indigene from the North Central. Apart from working in Nigeria, his career spans Europe and the Middle East, where he worked in various roles, including petroleum engineering, strategic planning, and asset management. Now, what would you be hoping to see from Bayo Julari, the new NNPCL CEO?
Well, thank you very much. To respond to that question, let me quickly make it clear to you that, Mark, we have a president that is obsessed with excellence and discovery of talents. Bayo, if you go through his CV, he's served in Shell and some other international organizations. This is the man that have a very high reputation. And the oil and gas sector, for over the years, you know too well that we have not been performing well, over these years, especially in terms of pricing, in terms of oil output and all that. for the first time, we find ourselves in a very, very difficult situation. So the assignment before Bayo, is to ride on the first salvo Mr. President fired that the era of subsidy is gone. So you need somebody who is creative enough to reposition the refineries. Sure. And now we see the refineries are working. What is the next step? Pricing. Because globally, we know that this is our major source of revenue for the federal government. True. And to achieve that, you need to be very transparent, and especially in the areas of price, because we are paying too much for fuel and other subsidiaries, other products coming from the NNPC. So there's a need for a synergy between the Dangote refinery, the NNPC, and its subsidiaries. But again, he should hit the ground running. Not about taking over from Melikari and saying, no, I'm going to build from where he stopped. I don't fancy that word, building from where he stopped. Rather, come up with ideas that will, create a new evolution for the oil and gas sector, because we have enough to service the nation and the international market. So I think the big task before him is to hit the ground running. Give us a clear mandate of what you want to do in the short term, in the mid-term, and in the long term, so that Nigerians will say, okay, now we have a GMD in NNPC that knows its onions.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, we go on a quick break now, and Newsweek continues in a moment. Stay.